Shining the Light with IUMC welcomes you to another Meditate at 8.
We are looking at measurements this week, and today our theme is discipleship. All believers are called to be disciples, but not all believers are or become disciples. Discipleship requires a commitment beyond believing, a commitment to follow Christ, take up a cross, rearrange life's priorities so that God's will supersedes one's own will. Discipleship means living God's way rather than our way, and it isn't easy. Discipleship may challenge us in this life, but the Bible speaks of immeasurable rewards in the next life for those who make the commitment. If, by the way, you're a United Methodist reading or listening to this meditation, remember our motto, to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. You can't make a disciple unless you are one first. So how do we know when we've made it as a disciple? Those first 12 followers of Jesus we refer to as the disciples gave up everything to follow Jesus. And yet for all their time on earth with him, they were really just disciples in training. One step forward, one or two steps backward was kind of a pattern. They didn't really get the discipleship thing down until after Jesus was crucified, resurrected, and returned to heaven. Are there measurements for discipleship? Well, there are, and several are set out in Galatians 5, verses 22 and 23. Eugene Peterson in The Message paraphrases the Apostle Paul's words this way: "What happens when we live God's way? God brings gifts into our lives, much the same way that fruit appears in an orchard. Things like affection for others, exuberance about life, serenity. We develop a willingness to stick with things, a sense of compassion in the heart, and a conviction that a basic holiness permeates things and people. We find ourselves involved in loyal commitments, not needing to force our way in life, able to marshal and direct our energies wisely." The NRSV translation of these verses refers to gifts of God as fruits of the Spirit and lists them as love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These qualities are what discipleship in action looks like. When a plant is healthy and mature, it produces fruit. But before a plant produces fruit, it goes through varying stages of growth. Large fruit-bearing trees begin as a single seed. Seeds need to be planted, watered, fertilized, and weeded. Seedlings need the same and often need to be replanted or pruned. Some plants need seasons of growth before they produce any fruit at all. Discipleship is like that. We don't become disciples overnight. The fruits of the Spirit are the marks of a disciple, and they take time to develop and even more time to mature and produce fruit. Do you see fruits of the Spirit in your life? How about in the life of someone else you respect for the maturity of their faith? What fruits do you need to cultivate more? Hint, if you're like me, you'll probably answer on any given day, all of them. But when it comes to discipleship, let's remember those first disciples who didn't get it right for years. God gives us time to mature in discipleship. There is no final end of semester due date. The key is to keep discipling, a point to ponder.